Hello again. It is your sister, Shy Soul, with part 3 of this faith walk. Where I left off, I had to go back because, if you haven't noticed, there's been some time in between these videos because I am just busy. But I went back and I saw that I was talking about how the Minister Farrakhan had allowed us to come back into the mosque after getting time out for disobeying, not doing what we're supposed to do during the time the movie Malcolm X came out. And so, like I said, I returned back to working at the mosque, which some of the people who have been there for a long time was like, how did you get that? I was like, me not thinking about it and thinking about it now, I just showed up and my position was still there. So there was that. They said that they must really like you because that has never happened before. I don't know if that's the case or not. But anyway, I don't know. So if I repeat some things, please forgive me because I only heard towards the end of the video so that I knew where to pick up at. And if I have not told y'all before, then you can drop it right here. But anyway, so come back and I'm working. And I don't know if I had mentioned that after Brother Anthony had passed away that I had kept his program from his services on my desk to remind me that he wasn't coming back. And someone that worked at the mosque who was close friends to the minister had told him about my behavior because she was concerned. And she said she was concerned, so she decided to tell the minister about it. So like the end of March, beginning of April, one of the brothers who was away at school had come to visit. This was someone that I liked, even though we never acted upon our what we did. And so he came home that weekend, left that Sunday, and I'm in my office, and one of my close friends comes in, and she said, I don't believe this. She's like, I know they lying. I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, Brother so-and-so is dead, that they found him hanging in his closet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, we just saw him Sunday. She said, that's what they're saying. So our other mutual friend who worked in the mosque with me came upstairs, and we were just kind of it was unreal, unbelievable, to be honest with you. It was, even now, I'm reliving this because it was just crazy. And so they said that he had committed suicide, and that was really hard to believe. It was really difficult to believe that he would do something like that. So in Islam, like in Judaism, you tend to bury someone within 24 to 48 hours after they pass away because there's usually no embalming involved. Another thing that's done in Islam is, and I don't know in Judaism, is that you're wrapped in a shroud because you're just going with the body that God gave you. You don't need any adornments. Another thing in Islam, as well as in Judaism, usually you're buried in a pine box. It's very rare that someone will have an elaborate casket to be buried in. Even though I have gone to services in Judaism and Islam where there were actual caskets. So the day of his services, my friend that worked at the mosque with me, we said we would get there early because we wanted to see him. And so we get there early and we view him. And of course, we're overcome with emotion. And one of the imams came to where we were saying, don't you cry, because committing suicide is a sin. Don't you cry. It's like, and thinking back, we lost someone really close to us, and how are we not supposed to feel these emotions? It was really crazy now that I'm thinking about it to have someone say that to you. But I understand the reason why, but that's still not a reason to allow people to show emotions. I can't recall if his mother, because I don't recall if his dad was still alive then, cry. I'm pretty sure. No, his father was still alive. Yeah. Because there was another situation that happened after that in regards to his death. So in the teachings of the nation, we are taught to go with someone to the very end, meaning when they're buried. So after that, we had gone to the cemetery. She and I were together. We stepped away. We both cried. I do recall that. After that, we had gotten a word from someone that said that the minister wanted to see all of us, see the vanguard and the task force, because he was concerned because of what was told to him about my behavior, maybe others' behavior, I'm not sure. But I do recall this, walking into the palace, and the minister is greeting all of us. And I remember him seeing me, and he takes me by the hand, and he says, I could have lost you. And I start bawling. And he takes me into his arms, and he hugs me, and he tells me, I love you. And of course I told him that I loved him back. That is one thing that I will never forget, being in the nation, in everything that I've experienced. I mean, there's a lot, but that most special to me. Special experience that I had directly with him. So during that time, even though they said that this brother, our friend, had committed suicide, they really didn't believe it, to the point where they brought some of the students that were close to him to Chicago to interrogate them about what was really going on and what really happened to him. Because I remember his dad coming out of a room and he's sweating. He's just, because as a parent, you don't expect to go before, you don't expect your child, you don't expect to bury your child. That's number one. You don't expect that. But the way that they said that he passed was difficult to accept for all of us, it was really difficult to accept. That's the truth, because I had a hard time believing it too. But in the end, that is what happened, because some news had gotten down to the school where he was about some things that went on, and he was running for something at the school, and it got out. And as opposed to him facing it, he decided it was easier for him to not be here. And you know, a while I've learned to understand that people will take their lives because they think about themselves, which is an immediate thought. It is a very immediate thought. But they don't think about how it's going to affect others. Because like now, I feel like crying because, you know, he did this, and I still think about him from time to time. And I think about everything that went on and everything that we experienced. It wasn't, come on, y'all, stop being so nosy. Come on. You know, and, yeah. Crazy. So let's see. After that, I take my friend to Jamaica to celebrate her graduating and her birthday. And I'm gonna tell you, I was not the best Muslim in the world, just like I'm not the best Christian in the world. I'm not. I am a continuing work in progress. And I did some things that I shouldn't have been doing. Not proud of it, you know. But I was having an affair with someone. And found out later when I got back that I was pregnant. Only because of this. So going on vacation with my girlfriend, and you know, before then I was taking Fen-Phen, which was a drug that was supposed to speed up metabolism to lose some extra weight. Everything, even though when I look at the old pictures from that, I'm like, damn, I was skinny. And got a little sick. I thought it was because I drank the water down there. Because if you go to a foreign country, you bring your own bottled water or you buy bottled water. Don't you drink the water there. That was then. That was in the 90s. It's probably changed, but I still wouldn't do it. That's just me. And so I got really sick. And so I shared with her, I said, I think I might be pregnant. And she asked me by who. So I told her, and she was like, oh. And then she goes to share with me that she knows some other people have had this experience and someone else had gotten pregnant and terminated the pregnancy. I'm like, are you serious? And I'm thinking in my dumb self that I was the only one. But I was not. I get back to the States and I call him and I'm like, I said, damn, I done found out that you was fucking this person, and this person. And he was like, how you know that? I'm like, yeah. And he didn't deny it. Didn't deny it at all. So I told him I was quitting and I was coming to get my stuff. Little did he know that, you know, there was a safe in the office. And the safe had money in it. For some reason, I was the only one with the combination to this safe. I don't know why. But you know what I did? I helped myself to the money that was left in the safe. Back then, that was a lot of money. And probably by by the time they broke into it or got into it, he realized that shit was gone, and it was no way that he was gonna come after me for that run. Not at all. So moving on and started another job. I had met someone while I was there, while I was still in the nation, and was still, being involved in things like that. This was around the time of the Million Man March. So, did I tell you? Oh, yeah, that pregnancy that I had with the affair, I had terminated that pregnancy because there was no way that I was having this man's baby, because he was married with a family. I was not going to interfere with that because, and I'm gonna say this, call me what you may. All right. So as a side piece, side chick, whatever y'all like to call it, I knew my place, and I knew that I was not about to interfere in this man's family. I wasn't going to trust him that he was going to take care of me and this child. So why would I sit up here and put myself in that particular situation? So, no. But anyway, in the new job, so I met someone, and we liked each other. Back then, I was a strong defender of the teachings. So he was a soldier, had just gotten back from Operation Desert Storm, and was in the reserve. So he wasn't active, he was in the reserve. And I kept telling him, like I said, you shouldn't be in the white man's army. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. Blah, 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 blah. He didn't care. He persisted. He still persisted. And eventually, we got together and we got intimate. And now, unlike my carelessness before, this was not careless. The condom broke. So, that happened right around the Million Man March is when I found out that I was pregnant. Went to my friends and we sat and we talked. And I told them what happened. And one of them who was getting married was like, she said, Marie, can't you just wait? Because she wanted me in her wedding. I told her by then I would have probably have been about 4 or 5 months pregnant, and I would have been showing at that point. And, a lot of sisters who have been in the same situation would, stay until, they couldn't anymore. And so I told her, I was like, at that point, I was so physically and mentally tired. I told her, I said, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. And I knew what the consequences were, which was basically being shunned. Like, no, you're not supposed to talk to anyone who is put out, or you will face the same punishment. And so I go to my sister captain and I tell her what happened. Of course, she was surprised and disappointed. But she said to take this time out to reflect on what what you did, what you could do better, how you become a better Muslim, this, that, and the other. So I got 1 to 5 years, and that February 18 of 1996, I lost my son. And it was really devastating. And I, went through the emotions and everything. And so I started praying a lot more, and not in the way that they taught us in Islam. I just started crying out to God, asking why. Now, the Minister Farrakhan had done a lecture about asking God why. And he said that you can do this, but just watch how you ask him. You know, he will answer. Just the bottom line, prayer, you ask God for something, he's going to answer your prayers. I've told y'all this. He's going to answer them. So that year, was just needing to get away. And so I had gone to Houston to visit a friend of mine. I had also gone to the Bahamas because I just needed to get away. While I was in the Bahamas and I was checking in with my folks, every time I called the house, my dad was like, your mom's not here. She's at your grandparents. And I'm thinking, okay, what's going on, right? I'm like, why is she at my grandparents? Now, my grandfather had colon cancer. And so I said, oh my God. I said, I see Papa's, his cancer's no longer in remission. And that was my thinking. But it wasn't that. So my family has a genetic blood disorder called sickle cell anemia. Most of us carry the trait. My mom's brother and his wife, they both carried the trait, which meant that their children were going to have the disease, and both of the younger children did. While I was in in the Bahamas, my youngest cousin passed away from a complication with the sickle cell. And I was devastated because I'm like, why now, God? I'm like, here we are. I'm sitting up here still grieving over my son, and then now my baby cousin is gone. I'm like, why? So started praying more. Praying and praying. So then I am still working at juvie and run into somebody who I went to church with. And she said that she knew what happened. And I said, like, how did she know what happened to me as far as me losing the baby? And she said that we have been praying for you. Now, me and this group of people, we have been friends since the first church that we attended. And then we all ended up at St. Sabina. So in the midst of me praying, the Lord called me back to St. Sabina. Now, as I stated, and I don't know if I stated before, there were times where we in the nation would do church visits. And so I would always end up going back to St. Sabina because of my relationship to Father Mike at the time. And, one other time I had went to Life Center, which is T.L. Barrett's church. But the thing is, I've always felt at home, even when I was in the nation, when I would come visit. So something said, go back. And I went back. And then as I went back, the Lord just started speaking to me and was like saying, basically, you don't have to go through this. What I have for you, I remember this. What I have for you is bigger than what you expect. Honey, you talk about somebody shouting. So I gave my life back to Christ. And around that time, when my year was coming up, a friend of mine, who is still a friend to this day, came to me and he says, someone is looking for you. I was like, looking for me for what? He said that because they want to take so-and-so down and he needs you to come back. I was like, what? He said he knows what happened. I was like, what happened? And he's like, Marie, for real? I said, you know what? That was right then and there. I I was never coming back. I told him, I said, they don't need me to take this brother down. I said, his own greed is going to take him down. Because the lifestyle he led before he joined the nation, he was not going to be able to keep up that lifestyle financially. He wasn't going to be able to do that. So I was like, I said, no, he was never coming back. And I knew that. I knew that I wasn't coming back. Now, when I think about my time in the nation, and I talked to a sister who, oh my God, this sister, beautiful sister, wonderful woman of God, follower of the minister, working the messenger's economic plan, just amazing. We were at a coffee shop one day, and I was talking to her about this, and I told her that if I knew what I knew now, I realized that I could have helped the minister from the outside, because there were a lot of people who were a part of the nation but never became registered Muslims, never, came in to do the work. And she said, no, Marie. She said, no, you couldn't have done that. She said, because I wouldn't be here right now. She told me that when she saw us in our Vanguard uniforms, she knew that's where she wanted to be. She said that we had this regalness about us, even in these military uniforms, that made her want to be a part of. And she said, we saved her. We saved her. Oh, Jesus. And to think, you never know who's watching you. I have said this several times on different posts, my Facebook posts. You never know who is watching you. You never know. And like I said, this sister, she has a thriving business. I don't know if she's an independent business or just independent contractor. She has a beautiful family. She's a wonderful wife, good soldier. And she said that, oh my God, I can't. Things like that touch me. It makes me know that something that I am doing or that I've done has helped someone. Maybe now, I don't even know, at some point. But yeah, she said that to me. But now I'm gonna say this. So I've been out of the nation since October or November of 1995. I have never thought I would even go back to even visit. Even, going to a Savior's Day. I never, because it was never held at the mosque. And, but I just never felt pulled to come. I remember one day driving down Stony Island in Chicago, and I see one of the ministers, and he's like, Marie, he's like honking his horn, Marie, Marie, Marie. I'm like, I said, huh? He said, we miss you. You should come back and visit and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, how am I doing that? So apparently the minister had made it so that those of us who had not been in the nation a long time could come back without any repercussions or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna come back. Yeah. Nope. I can truly say that I have returned in to be in the mosque only 3 times since 95. One, I had gotten a personal invite from someone, a sister who I'm still really close with. She was one of my military superiors. And, oh yeah, I knew it was something. Tell how she and I became really close. So, one day, we're working at the mosque, and worked there too. And so a person who was the editor of the Final Call passed away. She was out of town, and her husband didn't take it well because they were really close. Her husband didn't take it well, and I called her and I said, you have to come home, because I was like, I said, you have to check on your husband. I was like, you know, it was just really weird, you know, with the type of man that he was, to see this type of emotion coming out of him, and I was really concerned. And so I told her, I was like, I said, you gotta come home. And so after that, she and I, you know, became close. When I moved down here, when I got to my sister's house, she was the first phone call that I got. I love her to this day. Because just going back, so as I was able to come around and everything, you know, she was holding these things. She would always reach out to me, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come. Oh yeah, I'm gonna come. And never showed up. But all of a sudden, you know, we sat down and we had coffee, and we talked about so much. Even me telling her about how I lost my child, you know, because she had had some infertility issues too. And I'm like, okay, as long as I'm going to be there with her, I'm okay. So I gone back to an MGT, big MGT class with the new sister captain, who was amazing. If she's still there, she's just an amazing. And, you know, had gone back for a Savior's Day at the mosque with my girlfriends. And, you know, but I just know that, you know, in the Bible, it says that there's a time and a season for everything. People will ask me, how could I have gone back to Christianity? The thing is, you know, we always talked about Jesus in the nation, but in a different way. And just coming back to learning about my Christianity and who Jesus is to me, it just fit. And it just fit. And so, you know, it just fit. You know, it's probably just never left. And sometimes I always say that the reason why I got into the nation is I got caught up to the point where I was willing to give my life for someone. But that is, Jesus tells us that that's the ultimate sacrifice, you know, that you give your life for someone that you love. You know, he gave his life for us because he loved us, even though he didn't know us. He gave his life. And so, you know, I'm still in touch with all of my close friends from the nation. You know, I still love them. You know, sometimes you have that family that you just don't talk to. And sometimes this is the family that I just don't talk to. And it's okay. They're still my brothers and sisters. But anyway, that's that part. I don't know if I'm going to continue on more with that, because there's some other things I could share about my faith. Yeah, there might be a part 4 to this. But anyway, I thank you all for listening. I thank you all for just being there. Even if you're not there yet, you're coming. You're coming. I have a plan in place. So, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. It's okay. Leave a comment. Share the video. Hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you know the next time I post a video, because like I said, right now it's few and far between, you know, because I have these classes, which is kind of rolling really fast, and like I said, these classes are coinciding with each other, which is probably, I'm hoping, will help this channel to grow. But anyway, I appreciate you listening. This is your sister Shy Soul. Till next time.